Everyone seems to agree that the best way forward to reopening the economy and society at large has to be data driven. Now, it's from there that everyone diverges on what data driven is going to mean and how testing plays into that. Now, testing basically tells us who has the virus, who doesn't, who's had it and who hasn't, and where are all these people. Now, all of that's vital information according to all the guidelines from the federal government and from state governments to be able to know when and how to reopen and when to shut back down. Now, if you ask the President of the United States, America has the world's best testing regimen. But if you ask one of his most high-profile experts from his task force, Dr. Deborah Birx, she says that here in America, we're still waiting on a breakthrough in testing because we just don't have the science that we need to be able to test properly. She said diagnostic testing, the test that says, yes, you have it, no, you don't, will get us through spring, which we're in now, and summer, which is coming. But we really need a breakthrough in antigen or antibody testing to move, beyond that. His other high-profile medical expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci from the White House Coronavirus Task Force, basically says that right now, everyone who needs one in America still can't get one, okay? So he's hoping that by the end of May, the beginning of June, everyone, for example, who's admitted to hospital or showing symptoms who needs a coronavirus test should be able to get one. Now, yesterday, having shied away from White House briefings for day after day after day, ever since he suggested injecting Dettol out loud as a possible cure, the president finally did a White House briefing yesterday where he pushed out this blueprint, national blueprint for testing. But what it really does is just put all the pressure on the states to come up with the tests and the way to execute them, and dissolves the federal government of responsibility except for being the supplier of tests or medium or swabs of last resort. Now, all of this is happening, this testing discussion, as you say, as 1 million Americans have now tested positive for the coronavirus. And the death toll has gone through 57,000 today here in the United States. We're just about killed more Americans in 3 months from coronavirus than died in 9 years in the Vietnam War. And all the states that are opening, about a dozen of them, we're not going to know for about 10 to 14 days whether they're going to add to the death toll, which was once modeled at 61,000. Well, we're going to punch through that in this week. It's now been revised up to 74,000 because of the states opening early, Peter.
What about, from an existing $2 trillion stimulus to possibly a total of $9 trillion in stimulus, how has that rollout of financial aid been above the significant increase?
Look, everyone's applauding the fact that the federal government and Congress, both sides of the aisle, are rallying to try and support and to stimulate the economy. But a lot of questions have arisen out of the hundreds of billions, I mean literally hundreds of billions of dollars that were devoted to a package of loans that could be forgiven if you met certain requirements that were meant to target small businesses. These are businesses that employ less than 500 people. Well, it turns out that, this program was meant to help you keep on your employees. Say you own a small shop, a kebab shop. This was run by a mom and a pop, a mum and a dad. This was meant to allow them to keep on their employees for about 8 weeks, or to make mortgage payments or rental payments or to pay for utilities. And as long as 75% of the money was spent on payroll, the federal government would forgive the debt. Well, as it turns out, these hundreds of billions never reached mum and dad running the kebab shop. Most of it, or huge chunks of it, disproportionate amounts of it, went to big business. Okay, a week or two ago, Shake Shack, a very prominent fast food chain, announced that it had received 10 million bucks and was so embarrassed they were giving the 10 million bucks back. Yesterday, what did we learn? The LA Lakers, the NBA basketball team of Kobe Bryant, may he rest in peace, was given $4.6 million, while the kebab shops of America never got a look in and never got a cent. So the LA Lakers are giving back that $4.6 million. And now the government is saying by May 7, we're doing an audit. Either you're a mum and a pop type business or you give the money back, no questions asked. I mean, and this is so important, Peter, because things like these small business loans are going to help shape the world that we come back to. I've got to be honest, most of your cafes and your little restaurants and your little boutiques that are closed right now probably are never coming back because they can't survive. Programs like this was meant to help them survive so that when we emerge from this, there's a world resembling the one that we'd left.
Yeah.